Hey geometry students, this is a little bit of a preview video to get you started on our next unit. Now, we've already actually started this unit because this unit's about polygons, and the work we did with triangles and the work we did with quadrilaterals fills into this, because triangles are a polygon. Quadrilaterals are polygons. And so the things that we've done with those are similar to the things that we're going to do. What we're going to work on in this unit is adding more sides. Triangles had 3 sides, quadrilaterals had 4. What happens when we go to 5, 6, 7, 8, 50, 100, infinitely many sides? And that's a big picture, but that's what we're going to work through. I'm going to share a video. It's in 2 parts today so that I kept it short for you. There's a graphic organizer that I want you to be filling out while you're watching this video. And I'll be flipping back and forth for a couple minutes here to show you what I expect from you in that graphic organizer. It's going to be helpful if you want to sketch some of these things, but you're also going through this Nearpod where you're going to be asked to make some predictions about what might happen. Okay? Check this out, and then in class, we'll review it and make sure we're all on the same page. All right, so I've got a whole bunch of polygons drawn on a piece of paper. We're going to look at those as we go. But we're going to start with our most basic polygon, and that is a triangle. It has 1, 2, 3 sides. That's where the prefix tri comes from. It means 3. Like a tricycle has 3 wheels. Now, triangle means that these also have 3 angles. 3 sides, 3 angles. That's what we talked about in that unit. We also mentioned this, and I think you've seen it before, but I think this is a good time to put it down in our notes. Every triangle has 180 degrees in its interior. So if I take angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3, and I add those together, it will always add up to 180 degrees. Whether it's a right triangle, an acute triangle, an obtuse triangle, no matter how I draw that, it's going to add up to 180 degrees. And that's going to be important because as we look at these other shapes, these are going to form the basis of what we do. So, if you're looking at your graphic organizer, there we go, I think that popped up. You're going to see this and you're going to fill this in. A triangle has 3 sides and 3 angles. There's obviously one triangle and a triangle. And the sum of the interior angles is 180 degrees. Now, I left this sum of exterior angles blank. We're going to talk about that when you come to class next time and how we work through those. Today we're going to be focused on interior angles. What you're going to do as you go through this video is you're going to fill in the rest. How many sides and angles do each of these have? How many triangles make that up? And what is the sum of the interior angles? So let's pop back over, here we go, to our quadrilateral. And we talked about these throughout the last couple of weeks. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. That's where that prefix quad comes from. It means 4. A quadruped from science class would be an animal that walks on 4 feet. That's the first word that jumped into my head that starts with quad. But what I want you to see, and what we looked at, is that if I draw a diagonal, really I have 1, 2 triangles here. Every quadrilateral is made up of 2 triangles put together in a different way. That means that there's 180 degrees here and 180 degrees here, because that's what we saw up here with our triangles. What that means is that the sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral, take 2, the number of triangles, times 180 degrees, and we get that 360 degrees. Okay. Many of you realize that. We talked about that through our quadrilateral unit, and that's where it comes from. So you're going to come over to your graphic organizer. It has 4 sides and 4 angles. It's made up of 2 triangles, and it's 360 total degrees. Again, we'll talk about the exterior angles later, but the sum of interior angles is always 360, whether it's a rectangle or a rhombus or a kite or a trapezoid or just some quadrilateral that doesn't fit a pattern. They all fit that 360 degrees. As I go through the rest of these, pause the video and come back and fill in what you think for the rest. I'm going to skip down to my next figure. You see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. Now I ran out of space a little bit, so I'm going to write it up here. This is called a pentagon, pent being our prefix for 5. Pentagram is a 5-sided star, or 5-pointed star, sorry. The Pentagon building, okay, where we house the Department of Defense, has 5 sides to it. But the neat thing is, this is still triangles. If I imagine that I took this quadrilateral and just stuck a triangle on the end, this triangle has 180 degrees inside of it. And if I draw a diagonal here, I have 180 degrees in that triangle, and 180 degrees in that triangle. Meaning that a pentagon with 5 sides, 3 triangles, times the 180 degrees in each, gets us 540 total degrees. Make sure you've got that filled in your chart. 5 sides, 3 triangles, 540 sum of interior angles. What you're going to be asked to do now in your Nearpod is make some predictions. What do you think is going to happen when I get here with 6? Take a moment, make that guess, and then we'll go through. At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles. Notice the angles getting a little bit bigger to make it all fit. And this is called a hexagon. Hex meaning 6. Okay, a hex head screwdriver is going to have 6 sides on each screw, things like that. But notice that I have that same situation here. I have a quadrilateral in the middle that I can split into 2 triangles. And 2 triangles here on the sides. 180 degrees here, 180 degrees here, 180 degrees here, and 180 degrees here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. 4 times 180 degrees is 720 degrees. And you can confirm that. I did these calculations ahead of time. You can double check those. Take a moment here. You're going to make a prediction about what happens with 7 sides. Okay, this is my 7-sided figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 angles. Now, we name these one of 2 ways. The most common way in geometry that we deal with is a heptagon, which is a prefix for 7. But you've also seen this prefix. Sometimes it's called a septagon, depends on the language of origin. A septagon, that's sept, the same prefix that we use for our month September. Now, a heptagon has 7 sides. Hopefully you predicted how many triangles were going to be here, but let's try it. I'm going to cut this whole bottom chunk off, 1 larger triangle. Still, though, 180 interior degrees. Then I'm going to slice this into 2 quadrilaterals, because each of those has 2 triangles. Every time I draw the diagonals, quadrilateral, I split into triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles times 180 degrees. And that gets us to a nice 900 degrees of interior angles. I'm going to stop this video here and pick up with the next one. That's really just a time limitation. Okay, so make sure you're working through both of these Nearpods, and we'll go from there.